to cause black men not to want to marry? What has changed? Now I'm going to add some on to this because we know that pre-segregation and post-segregation marriage levels were extremely high. Now, if that was because of the situation, because we had to survive, but marriage rates were really high at one point. We weren't always bankrupt when it came to marriage. And so the question is, and anyone can answer it, what has changed to cause black men not to want to marry? The pastor, give her the mic.
I also have the answer to this question, so if you
So we'll let the lady go.
if you need a follow-up, I'll serve it in the mic. If you need a follow-up, I can handle that too.
I think social conforms. We've changed, and I think that I think women have flooded the market. I heard Chris Rock said that if that area of a woman was a stock, we would flood the market. It wouldn't be worth anything because we've given it away. We don't cherish it anymore. We're not recognizing who we are and what we are and the value we have. So we've given ourselves away for such a low value for so long until why? We've given marriage such a bad stigma. And we were just talked about putting such harsh conditions and requirements on men for husbands. And we've made it look bad. Not that it is bad. You hear what I'm saying? We've made it look bad. And I think that that's the problem when you've given them options. Till now they say, well, I got options. Before they didn't think that they had options. Before the social conforms was, boy, when you gonna get married? Boy, you better get that wife. You better get your wife and you better settle down and you better get married. And if you got her pregnant, her daddy came to your house with her brothers and you got her and y'all got married. Come on, you know the social conforms was them older folk held you accountable and you did what you know you had to do. And now we have loosened the tight of the belt. We've loosened the belt, we've loosened the social conforms, the requirements are not as loose, and we've loosened the requirements on y'all, on each other, but then we've made the stigma look worse. Why would you want to? When we don't make it look so well. And we make being single look so good because now you got all these, with those, the shows that come on. With the reality-based shows, yeah. You got the Bad Girl Club and you got the little New York mess that come on and you get to looking at that stuff and the producers and directors set it up and they set it so good tonight you make it look like they clubbing and we having good and being single is the life and all this. And then what marriage shows do you have that make it look good?
The basketball wives not even married.
Thank you.
I heard you somewhat saying, without saying, why buy the cow? I heard you say that. Without saying it.
We're not even giving you
So hold on, Pastor, hold on. I know, hold on. I like being able to tell the pastor to hold on. That was a great woman, that was a lucky woman that found you. You are the model. Help me, sister. His prayers got answered. Now, I raised earlier, why are black men wanting white women in such proportions, or at least the illusion or the perception is there. Now, the fact is that that's not actually true. That's right. The stat says that it's less than 5%. The stat says that, they've done the research. Now I know, sister sitting there right now like, Negro, please. I know, your mind, the words are coming out your ears. I know, Negro, please. The research says that that is not true, but okay, and we're going to talk about Vegas, because Dr. Renshaw, go ahead and do a follow-up, and then I'm going to come to Ms. McDonald, and I'm going to come to the couple, because I haven't heard them for a little while, and we're on a short, tight rope. Go ahead, Doctor.
I'll be brief. All right, so one of the first concepts when I said the two alpha males, and this will tie everything together, and I'll be very quick. There's one thing, behaviors, they're like, oh, well, men need to, the males, they need to impregnate as many women as possible to have as many kids as possible. Well, actually, in actuality, A man has a better chance of having children if he picks one woman and has sex with her frequently. So that's when we have two types of alpha male. So they think that men just want to have sex, period. Okay, if there's one attractive, because I'm more along the line, there's one attractive woman, I want to have sex with her as much as possible, as opposed to like 15 other ones. So there's two perspectives of the alpha male. So one is more of the social type, and one is more of the, or more of the aggressive type. So that plays in a nurture and nurture. But when you talk about this little twist on what you were giving, this information about the decline of the black family, it has been traced to right around the 70s when the automotive industry pulled out of Los Angeles. That had been the start of the decline of the black men as far as being unemployable and unemployed. So what happens is black men, for a lot of different reasons, can't get jobs. They can't fit in to conform to where they're supposed to be in society, or like to be incarcerated, things of that nature. They're being targeted in school. For example, there's been research that shows that kids, African-American males, just based on their clothing, wind up getting in trouble. Just targeting just on clothing, whether they're gangbangers or not. So the underemployability and unemployability of men that happened around that time, that has been traced to the decline of black men, black relationships, and lack of marriages and problems. And getting back to the very part about what you were talking about, black men liking white women. Research shows that, according to Orlando Patterson, who's out of Harvard, he's saying that there's a few problems why black people aren't getting married. And by the way, black people are getting married less than any other place in the world, in the United States. But one of those is that black women, for lack of better terms, number one, don't want to have a man who goes to church. Because black men who go to church, there's this presumption that they will have a woman to submit, and they reject that model, okay? That's number one, and that's very real. Now, how you feel about that, that's what research says. The other aspect about, well, that's what the research says. If you don't agree, but so they interviewed black women, they said, and other black women said this. Other black women said that. Okay.
Please let the doc go ahead and finish. I promise y'all can just circle him in the area. Go ahead, doc.
So if black women, so if black women could just take a little time to listen. So if black women, for lack of better terms, reject the traditional Catholic or religious forms of marriage, right? If they're rejecting that, then that has been linked to the other part of the problem, is that black women don't want to be married exactly how it's been handed down to them from the church. So they have a different perspective of that, of marriage, and African-American men have a more traditional perspective of marriage. That's what's causing conflict. And that's what research says, not by myself. If you don't agree with this fine, this is what Orlando Patterson did, research by interviewing other black women.
Okay, and I cited Dr. Patterson earlier, and he is a phenomenal social psychologist, but I'm not, again, could research be disproved? Yes. Could it be true? Yes. But I think there's some measure that we have to say there has to be some bit of it that is valid.
So if you're not happy, email Dr. Patterson.
I just cited the man's research.
Read what he says first, and then argue.
Well,
that's not my opinion.
and Dr. Ransom, I think you make a valid point, is that within our love relationships, we're going to have a part 2 in February. A part 2 in February. But my grandma used to say, baby, you got 2 ears and 1. Y'all listen to them. Thank you. All right, so the next question is this. With only 4 to 5% black men being educated and financially secure. Now, I don't know if this is empirical data right here.
You don't know that. You don't know this.
Where does black men, what is the learn black men, where does that learn black women, independent women? I'm sorry, it's cursive, y'all. I apologize. Where does that leave black women, black independent women? Where does that leave?